Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. We are getting completely pummeled with snow this week, but not gonna lie, I'm kind of enjoying it because it's been a few years anyway. I'm sure most are not. So I'm gonna go for the mandated reporting video this week. Lots to cover state-wise, federally. And I say that because the agency I am doing my placement with is the VA, as most of you know, and they operate under federal and state law. So, as far as actually reporting, federal law is very specific, but generally umbrellaed, I guess you could say. And then the state laws really kind of break that down. So, a couple of things that I found really interesting as far as federal and state and my agency related. I thought that under the state of Maine, first of all, I love how they break down mandated for versus permitted reporter. So, a mandated reporter really is anyone in medical, law enforcement, social work, education, anyone with direct care, hands on stuff. Then they go into, I mean, even school bus drivers are mandated reporters. Then they go into the permitted reporters, like animal control officers, person knows or has reasonable cause to suspect that the child has been or is likely to be abused or neglected. So basically, really anyone in contact with that person is a permitted reporter. Then, under the state of Maine, I found it interesting that their section on photographs, and this is all at the mainelegislature.org. It breaks it down really nicely. But anyone in law enforcement or the medical field, if they suspect child abuse, elder abuse, they are able to take pictures as long as the photographs are done with minimal trauma to the child and or adult or elder, and that is consistent with professional standards. And then the photographs must go straight to the Department of, or like Human Health and Human Services, and they are reimbursed for those photographs, as well as they do not need consent to take those photographs as long as, again, they are done with, minimal to no trauma to the individual in question, or with the abuse in question, and it's consistent with professional standards. Something interesting I found. Now, with my agency, I was looking through the policies for them, and I came across the policy in regards to military sexual trauma. Now, if someone comes to us for counseling with military sexual trauma, unless that individual wants to report it, it would not be reported. And if it is reported, it's reported straight to the Department of Defense versus the state level, because any individual coming to us with MST in question or concerns, they are considered to not be otherwise a vulnerable population. So, quick little blurb. This exclusion should be narrow in effect, however, because most veterans who present for counseling or treatment of MST-related conditions, or who report such an experience to their VA provider would typically not fall under the categories of adults covered by state reporting laws. Vulnerable adults unable to make such reports to the proper authorities themselves. So, unless they want to report it, it's not going to go anywhere, and it's not going to go to the state level with us. It's going to go to the federal level, especially in that particular circumstance where it's military sexual trauma. So the male or female, it happened to while they were technically government owned. So otherwise, like if we were dealing with a veteran, and there was a child involved at home, and they aren't handling their anger appropriately, and that child is at risk, or we feel like they're at risk, or that veteran is making statements that would imply that the child is at risk, we would then be a mandated reporter in that case. So lots of information. We don't particularly have a specific person that handles reports. They leave it up to the departments. I, of course, I certainly would make the report myself. I would certainly go to some supervision for some guidance, or a coworker for some guidance. My biggest challenge in reporting child abuse or neglect would probably be just that I haven't done it before. And I think that would just not having gone through the process before, and I'm pretty proud to say that I haven't had to do that yet. I did have to do an elder abuse report, but in that particular circumstance, somebody else did make the report. We went with the information, and they filed the report. So I haven't actually had to make the report myself. What would hold me back? What are your greatest fears? Nothing would hold me back, and I'm not fearful of having to make a report. If there's valid reason for me to make that report, my supervisor calls it the clinical heebie-jeebies. And it's true. Sometimes, people make certain statements, or things are seen, and even though you might not see the actual act of someone making contact with that vulnerable person, I think sometimes you just know something's not right. So it wouldn't hold me back, and I'm not fearful. Again, definitely, I think in any circumstance, kind of touch base with a supervisor, or if I'm in a supervisory role, a coworker, just for some guidance and moving forward. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I hope I touched on everything, and I know it's a little long, so I apologize. It's a lot of information to get in just a few minutes. I hope you all have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week.